Like, money. Huh? Oh, Larry there. Oh, yeah.
Y'all hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I can't hear it fine. Yep.
There we go.
You're going in the break. Wayne died about, we sell him minutes when he's in Ohio for about 7 years. Yeah, he's out of Watkins, Ohio. He's from there. And that was back when I was 15 years old. I'm 73. I'm going to tell you how long ago. Wayne was running business. I would take the post to load them on
Larry,
the fish on an airplane and fly them. That was his big dream.
Yeah, old Schaefer was alone up there, raising those, and he was also flying planes, and he got to feeding his ponds with a damn airplane.
It was this. Which, I remember Jerry and Neil. Jerry got, he built a shed in 2006. Going west. He got the foundation and maybe the fats of it never did anything after that.
Yeah, still
hey,
pretty
Steve,
much
can you hear me?
open, not really finished.
And then Leo Raymond Schaefer and then one of his sons had some across Highway 31.
I can say it.
I can't hear you.
Not one another. Almost full back up a patcher again, so.
Can y'all not hear me?
I can hear you, Brad.
Okay.
I got a bad reverb on here for some reason.
Yeah, I think it's echoing in the conference room there pretty bad, Steve. Well, I lost everybody, I guess.
I'm still here.
You know, if Dick's gonna be joining us, Brad.
He should be. Go ahead.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. He's the only one that hadn't is not in person or online that I see. So let me look.
Yeah, I was gonna wait a few minutes, see if he joins. I'll send him a text. Have you seen him anything?
About to.
Okay, Gary.
Well, they should be finishing this morning. A slow start this year.
Is his phone number 870-866-2806?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he showed up on the attendees list, so I'll it'll allow him to talk. Dick, can you hear us?
Where do you get spot?
That's foul.
Y'all guys got this reverb?
Dick, can you hear us?
That's pretty bad. Great.
Now, your phone is always muted.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah,
yeah, I think the noise is coming from that room. It's really echoing with all of y'all. When Larry was talking, I can hear myself echoing. I don't know. I have to turn some mics off or something.
Sorry, this is Dr. Gashi from Pittsburgh State. I think the issue is there are two Scotts here, Scott Edwards. One of them has to be canceled, I think. That's the main reason.
Scott, go ahead and mute yours and see if that helps.
No.
We're still waiting on Dick, or y'all can't hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I believe he's on, but I hadn't talked to him yet. Dick, if you're on, you need to unmute your phone.
I don't see him on here.
Well, like I said, I have an attendees that has got a phone number, and Larry said that was his number.
Oh, yeah, it is his number. I see it.
But yeah, just whenever you're ready,
Okay, well, we'll go ahead. Mark,
Recording in progress.
I'm gonna be looking through here, but I don't see an agenda list to go by. I should have got with you before this, but I thought I had something. I don't see it. I don't know if you sent me an agenda, but we can get started.
okay. Yeah, just be the call to order.
Yeah, we'll call a meeting to order. I don't know if, first of all, I want to thank everyone for attending. I know there's a lot of attendees today. There's Dick. I heard you a little bit there, so I think you're on.
I'm on.
I'm here, I think.
Yep, we got you. All right,
Okay.
so we'll go ahead and move forward. I'm gonna thank everyone for taking time out of the day to meet. I want to thank all of the applicants for going through and giving some really good proposals. We'll go through today and review these proposals, give everyone a chance to discuss the projects, and we'll make a decision. I guess, Mark, do you want to, is there anything else besides going into this? Like,
Yeah, we'll need to consider meeting minutes for approval. They're in the packets from January 15th, which was the special call meeting, and then January 22nd, the Hot Springs meeting, and then February 24th, the Zoom meeting we had. Just give the board members time to look through those, and if y'all want to make a motion to approve or
looking for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Well, I can make the motion if it's all right.
okay.
Larry,
I'll second it.
second Greg. Vote all in favor,
Aye.
aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Hearing none, minutes accepted.
And the next thing I had, like I said, the board will soon get a chance to hear about the proposals or ask questions about the proposals. Some of the submissions were for 2-year funding. Those submissions as selected for funding will be for 1 year. and they'll need to resubmit the next year for a continuation of funding for year 2 of the project. If selected for funding, the submitter will need to sign a MOA, a memorandum of agreement, for said funding and submit progress reports to the board. All selected submitters that will have a submission for year 2 funding will need to provide a status report for next year at next year's funding meeting, just so you know where they were at for year 1 and if they're up for a year 2 submission. And other than that, the next thing I have was, we had 3 research proposals. And if the board is ready, I can call the first one. If y'all want to have them present or just ask them questions.
Guess it'd be best, in my opinion, we just go on and present, and give a few minutes for each one and get them out of the way, and then we can discuss them individually as we go. Everyone will cover that.
The first one I have is Pittsburgh State. And Mazir, hopefully I said that right.
Yes.
Okay, you were up first.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Thanks everybody for having me here and letting me to present this work. Let me see if.
Daniel's way.
So you see the slides?
Yes, we could see them.
Okay, great. So again, thanks for having me. I'm currently assistant professor at Pittsburgh State University in Kansas Southeast, and I'm working in the chemistry department. I actually got recently a fund from Kansas Agriculture Department for working on special crop and also the crop, for the agricultural fields to be used. But this project is a little bit different. It's about the visual colorimetric sensors that could be utilized within the Catfish packaging, and the goal would be the real-time spoilage, tracking, and also the gas and any gas release coming off from the package during the shipment and packaging, and also during the usage. We would be able to track that. So I will be the lead, and also Dr. Gush would be my colleague. She's a biologist. She's not unfortunately here. She didn't join because she was in another conference, but she provided one slide to me. If there would be any questions regarding that, she will answer those questions later. The goal would be from July 2026 starting, and then June 2028 to end this project. It's around 2 years, but if it depends on the the administration, whatever you order, I mean, we can possibly work on the timings too. So the proposal, the goal would be actually the the goal would be actually, it says just short, the summary of the proposal. The goal would be actually creating the colorimetric label mounted inside the package, and by this we would be able to monitor, the device. I mean, the package itself. This is like an image from a representation of how this looks like. It's very simple, but pretty efficient. And the thing is, the goal would be something like this to be commercialized. As you know, so far there's no such sensor within the market, visual sensor that can be easily used and tracked by every individual. The goal for this purpose, we're going to be using natural anthocyanin dyes. Different variety of food colors are actually, we have identified, they're sensitive to these type of applications, and we're going to be utilize some other polymers and mixing them together to hold it in place within the package. Either it can be printed or can be as a mounted, within like the package itself, like as a peel, for instance. So we would be able to track, as I mentioned, the volatile compounds, total volatile basic nitrogen compounds, and mainly, and any pH shifts within the package we would be able to track. And also because I'm coming from the industry, I know what the industry is always looking, creating prototypes and hopefully making this in the scale would be the goal. I mean, this is like how it's going to be look like, for instance, as an image. If it's green, it's going to be going to, I mean, shift the color within the package over time. Within the, I mean, I got this from literatures. Overall, they say that, from the farm catfish, if it's processing, sometimes it goes to up to 60% of the losses within the processes from farm. Then the cold storage, there's another loss in that stage, 1 to 10%. Transportation, unfortunately, another issue with that stage to be getting loss of the product, retail, and also household. So you see that it's a substantial lose in every stage we get in this catfish supply if we would be able to monitor this and reduce by any means by this method which I'm going to develop, which will be very simple and effective. So this is going to be as a complementary, let's say, for the expiration dates. If they provide the expiration dates, in the packages, we would be able to put this in addition to that, because that doesn't exactly say that any biochemical, changes happens within the package itself. This is not a real time monitoring way expiration dates. And also, this would be also able to actually, this is another way, instead of just checking the surface, oxidation changes, for instance, any like appearance changes, I mean, people generally see and they suspect if that can be fresh or not. This can be somehow correlated, with the device that can be later on even scanned with a smartphone to be tracked. And if there would be any temperature abuse during the cold chain transportations, and any of these can be easily tracked with this device, because this is a sensor which is very sensitive to any changes within the package. And as I mentioned, the natural oxidation color changes that generally happens. This is another way we can, I mean, every individual it doesn't need to be educated. Just a label that can be also defined easily can be used. And this doesn't, as I mentioned, the general issue, we know that the printed dates doesn't reflect the temperature abuse. So this is going to be actually also a low cost method to be used, because we're going to be using mainly some plant-based extracts that are commercially available. And also, there are a variety of them, and we can identify which one would be the adapted one for this application. And if we can even make it more advanced, as I mentioned, using smartphones to scan, and also since it's a natural material, bio-based, pigments we're going to be using, it's going to be easily, compatible with the package itself, and also easy to be used for decision making. The thing is, I've done partnership work previously. Actually, in 2025, I worked with a company called Imbarex. They are located in Florida, and I was able to work with them to develop a type of color sensor that comes from it's a sort of insect. It's called cochineal, but it's a food safe insect. The color can be extracted and used for for the bakeries, for other applications in the food industry. But we took it and actually we developed this in a sensor based, visual based sensor that could be packaged within the cheese itself, cheese package, and we were able to monitor exactly how it changed the color and how the cheese itself could be spoiled. So we thought, okay, this technology can also be adapted with other applications, not necessarily this type of color, but in this, actually in Canada, I developed a chip there to be used for monitoring, how microbial growth happens within the chip, and how we can monitor that by a color, like a color spectrophotometer. So, we can, as I mentioned, because the left side is a curve where the volatile compounds created, and that's directly related with the microbial growth. And within the package, you see that the more microbial growth you have there, at the same time you're going to be able to get more volatile compounds. And this is exactly how we can take advantage from this technology. The different colors, some of the colors like anthocyanin dyes, which we can see, for instance, in berries. We can extract them and utilize them since they're very sensitive, and they can be, changing within the different, pHs, and that's correlated with this, discussion. Again, the goal would be the 6 objectives. We're going to be using the refrigeration temperature and also -18s, and also we're going to be having another as a system which would be as a base to compare within the like a room temperature, and this can be actually correlated. We can measure these microbial growth at different temperatures and how that can correlates with the the spoilage itself, the kinetics happens. And as I mentioned, the different variety of colors going to be considered here: red cabbage, beetroot, and there are some new products recently developed within the chemical industry. It's called carbon quantum dots, and they're safe for this application. It's going to be some matrices like starch or chitosan or gelatin can be used to embed and hold this color in place and can be printed. And again, the validation of frozen package and also the refrigeration, and also this going to be considered for how we can go through the regulations and considering with the commercialization path. Some of the tools that can be used for this purpose: a film applicator. I'm going to be getting a gas detector here to monitor at the same time how the fish is spoiled, and the gas detector would be able to monitor and measure that volatile compounds coming off. And I have a handheld colorimeter. At the same time, I can do the colorimeter measurements. Again, there's a color, it's called color space, CILAB color space, which we can use with this spectrophotometer to measure different color changes. And at the same time, as I mentioned, the microbial count would be correlated with that. My colleague going to be running she identified 4 different type of microbes that can grow within the fish package, and we're going to be testing all of them individually and see how that correlates. Their growth correlates with the fish spoilage. It's going to be through plate counting and also inhibitory measurements. Fabrication of, as I mentioned, we're going to be developing the lab scale standard operation procedure for this purpose, and this going to be considered later for regulation and also the commercialization, as I mentioned before. And I'm going to be working with catfish farmers and see how this can be commercialized. I tried to actually connect with some catfish farmers. I proposed this. I wanted to get some support letter from them if they could support me, but I think one of them, I mean, it was really hard, to be honest, find them through the phone call. Many of them were not available. Some of them said that I have to ask my husband or the relations, and unfortunately it didn't happen. I had to be able to get the support letters, but I actually talked with some of them and they said this is an interesting project. So the goal would be, this is the timeline I put here: the building the sensor library, and then later the monitoring with at different temperature conditions, the microbial growth conditions, the validation, and having a couple of finalists for this purpose, and also procedure, making the procedure, how that can be processed, as a printed version for the application side for the commercialization. And the goal would be better spoilage understanding of this, package. Real-time visual freshness Q would be another purpose of this, proposal. As I mentioned, one of the major goal would be reducing the waste and loss, and also the value-added differentiations. And also, hopefully, this is going to be open up newer opportunities for the packaging industry, especially for the fish industry, and also connecting to the stakeholders for commercialization. This is the fund I requested, 88,122 for 2 years. But as I mentioned, it all depends what the if that would be something you're interested. Somehow, one of the designs, for instance, I thought about this scale I can put in this package, and we can scale and we can say, for instance, how when it's started to activate and when it's expired. So we can have this such label. I designed this to show how this can be actually utilized within the package itself. And yeah, that's all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for that presentation. Let's see, do we have any questions on this? Anybody got anything they'd like to bring up on this project? Okay, hearing none. I guess we'll move on to the next project.
Okay, the next will be Mississippi State. Charles, you on?
Yes,
All right, Charles.
thanks for having me. There's a group of farmers in southeast Arkansas that have had problems with a blue-green algae called the Phanacapsa, and they've blamed that algae for fish losses. I did not make a slide presentation because there is almost no information out there about a Phanacapsa. And so this proposal would be very straightforward. We're just trying to get some baseline information about the blue-green algae. And so the idea would be to follow a group of ponds for 2 years and measure all the water quality variables we can think of to try to find correlations of what environmental variables lead to the Aphanocapsa blooms. The other part of the proposal would be using Larry Dorman's counts to make sure our counts will match up with his. And so then we can use all the historical data that any of the farmers have with the counts to also use that in our model to try to determine what factors are causing these Aphanocapsa blooms. And we would also look at if a farmer treats a pond, they'd have to help us with this. We could send bottles and we would have them take a sample before they treat, 2 days after they treat, and 7 days after they treat. This part was not put in the proposal because I was going to talk to the farmers if this gets funded about them helping me grab samples for that. So then we could determine how treatment affects the other phytoplankton in the ponds. But basically, that's it.
Okay, thank you for that presentation. Are there any questions on the Aphanocapsa from Mississippi State Research?
Yeah, what was your request on funding?
I believe it was it 58,000?
Oh, yeah, it was
58,000.
for
For
2
2
years. So, for the 1 year, it'd
Okay.
just be half.
Okay. Okay. I couldn't. Okay. There it is. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I would ask this for a question for myself. Is this based on finding and testing if we have situations where we don't, and I don't think that we'll have that, but could this, like if we didn't have a year, we didn't have a big outbreak of a Aphanocapsa, would you be able to carry that into a third year?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Mark, who we have next?
Okay, next we have Starry Night Initiatives with Lynette. And Lynette, this will be for the research proposal. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much. I'm going to skip the research part and only focus on the marketing, if you are okay with that.
Well, I've got you up next for marketing, if you want to do the research now, and then we'll do the marketing next when we go to promotional.
I just want to focus on the marketing. I think I'm going to set the research out. I have a bigger narrative for marketing at the moment, if you are okay with that.
Chairman Graham, are you good with that? Withdrawing the research proposal and just going straight into promotional now?
Yes, I think that's fine. I'm okay with it.
Okay. Okay, Lynette, we'll start with promotional for your project.
Thank you. I'm trying to pull up my screen. Hang on a second. It's not going to. All right. I will just verbally continue with I don't know why it's not doing it right now. I'm sorry about that. Let's focus on the marketing division that I would like to expand with regards to Catfish promotion. And I had a goals and objectives of what I'm trying to achieve, which is increase consumer demand for Arkansas and US raised catfish through substantial digital engagement, having a footing with some of the big box retailers and working with some of the marketing companies. I think we have a very good chance. And I do have an advantage of how to push forward the narrative on what is at hand for Catfish in the future and what are we doing with it right now to promote sales and retail sales, also customer engagement, and to change the perception of what Catfish actually is and what it produces and what it actually entail. The benefit is, for me, market growth, industry support, and direct engagement. We've had a decline in catfish sales by 27% in the last year. And for me, that would be, or for our company, it would be to focus on engagement and target audience and reach, which would be about 10 million through boosted content and organic content creation. Direct engagement is bridging the gap between consumers and farmers, and what does that look like? So that looks like working with not only Walmart, where our products is at the moment, but working with farmers and having a active platform where people can engage with our farmers and our producers. That's important. The second thing is being Arkansas raised product. It is something that we can carry with us, not only in our state, but into other states. And because we're only one of 4 states that actually produces catfish, so we could rebrand it and not just rebrand it, but give it a face, give it engagement, and push it across the threshold of actual marketing and advertising. We can create holiday campaigns. We have educational content by going through, sitting with some of the developers and researchers on the school, even going to farmers, engaging, working with R&D specialists when it comes to nutrition. What is the collagen basis? How much collagen actually is in catfish? How do we promote it as a healthy food brand and not just a fried fish side? So, and then we have National Catfish Month. How are we going to promote that? For that campaign, you can have a lot of engagement and bring focus back into not only catfish as a meal or protein alternative, but actually as a healthy food alternative, especially for women that are going into the collagen craze. There's a lot of collagen in catfish. There's a lot of health benefits sticking with it. We're also looking for alternatives that are heart healthy. Catfish is one of them. And I believe that not only can we push it into 1 or 2 years, we can actually get more. The more we engage, the more marketing sponsorships we can look for to partner with other brands and other big box retailers to bring it more of a updated feel and not just a mom and pop shop. That is the goal for me with catfish and catfish marketing. The estimated proposed budget for that is 25,000 for the 2 years, and obviously to expand. The whole idea is not to sit with your budget, but to actually grow it and get more buy-in from other stakeholders, possibly also, and grow that into a bigger estimate. So that's all I have at the moment. I will send more details through if you need. But I think for now that is what I wanted to get across. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Lynette,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
but Lynette, you said the 25,000 was over a 2-year period?
that's correct.
Okay, so for 1 year, it'd be just half of that, 12,500.
No, I apologize. That is for 1 year. Sorry, that is for 1 year.
Okay, I thought so. I thought you're
No, I'm sorry. I was like that. I'm paying.
yeah.
That's
25,000 is 1 year. Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Okay, I was gonna say, wow, Lynette, for you to have to memorize that and did like you did and just wing it, that was pretty impressive. Kudos.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Or obviously I have some, but are there any questions out there?
I have two questions.
Mhm.
Can you tell me about your organization, the Starry Night Initiative? I couldn't find much information about it.
Oh, Sorry Nice Initiative is a nonprofit organization that works with, I work with a lot of agricultural and forest preservation, agricultural state organizations. I am currently part of the SAM.gov grants recipients, and I work with several. I'm not very popular out there because I'm not trying to make a big name, but we do have an impactful name in the industry besides here. So you won't find a lot of it on the surface level, but behind the scenes, yes, definitely a lot of tracking in the background. Does that answer the question?
Yes. And then my second question is, as I read the proposal,
Yeah.
What I understand this to be is more of a social media campaign.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you're making content and you're paying for clicks and views and such. And you had a chart there. You listed some locations where these would run, like brand shop and organic social and paid social. Can you explain more of that? Like who are those platforms and
This is just a speculation. So whatever I worked on what our events would look like from 2026 to running into 2027. If I look at Q3, Q4, etc. So I looked at that calendar and paid content versus organic content is if I go to the farmers, if I sit with some of these R&D developers who go to farmers, say, let's look at the growth cycle of catfish. Let's put that out there. How is it sustainable? Is it eco-friendly? How are we working it? Is it something that, can you spark interest? Can we work with that's organic? Is your day-to-day? Bring awareness to people. What is actually happening? What are the challenges that we sit with? If I look at any other, if I look at forestry, for instance, we look at hardwood and etc. We have a lot of exposure on not only the successes but the challenges, and it's interesting because you can engage people with that. And what goes into people are very because it's a food product, people are very engaged as to what is the nutritional, what goes into my food. And I think that is a great way of exposing it, especially in an organic environment. Paid environment is where we have a celebrity or somebody endorse the product, and the product usually would. I worked on a campaign I worked with a big box retailer for a long time, managing very specific social media content, paid versus organic. And our organic, our paid would be if somebody comes into the store and we give them X amount, and we create, especially content creators trying to create a name for themselves. So we would pay them a very small fee, but we need the engagement, right? So it's because it is a transaction. You have to be very smart when you do these type of things, as not to have a false expectation, but also not a false delivery. We have to, you have to compare what you're getting for what you're paying. But I think the main focus in the beginning, and then of course, the more popular you get, the more content you can create, the more more engagement you'll have, and people like to jump on the bandwagon of success. So the more you create, the more the chances that you would succeed in that way. If that answers the question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to add to that question there. I would assume you're like your influencers, your social influencers, that would be Facebook, Instagram, or your cook shows,
Yeah,
that's where that would be.
that's correct.
Okay.
And to add to that, we have our big box retailers have a lot of say when it comes to that type of engagement, or they can help. Not a lot of say, but they have a lot of, we can work where our product is at the moment. Where can we get more influence? What is it? We need to now work in the beginning stages, the biggest bang for your buck. And that is where, what is it you have that you can bring in and create a feel of, I would say, have, and then build up from there. Sorry, I'm going off track, but I'm just saying that you can work with. Sorry, I'm going to stop. I'm stuck into it, but yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, well, I'm gonna keep going then. I'm just gonna give somebody a minute. I like when you go to gas tanks and you see these little I forget what they call. We have some marketing through TCI, which that's another one of my questions. Would you be willing to engage with another marketing agency in this kind of simultaneously with I guess in conjunction with them and their efforts? We're focusing on Texas and on certain areas, but we still have advertising in Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, where the catfish states are, but we're kind of focusing west. And just wondered if you would be interested in working with them. There's a lot of social media platforms there that they, that they utilize, and I think it'd be good to connect y'all with this project and include that, because you could use a TCI, and there's so much it's already. Are you familiar with TCI?
No.
Okay, that's the Catfish Institute, and I think it'd be good. We got to make a connection here, one way or another. Also, is this back to the airports, the gas pumps? You see these, digital screens at airports, and you see these little digital screens on the gas pumps. Are any of your is any of this project any portion of that? Is that what is that called? I cannot remember what they call that.
To get to the gas pump, are you trying to put advertising into those? Would you like to put market in those spaces?
Yes, okay. But I didn't know if it was included in that. There's a name that they call those screens, and I can't, like, for pumps, for airports, for you have these little consoles in shopping malls, and there's digital advertising all over, and I think it has a name, but I can't remember what it is, and I just wondered if it was included in any of that.
Yeah, no, this is a way we can, this is how it would work. If say, for instance, we all speak hypothetically right now. We work with Walmart gas stations. Walmart has the digital displays, I think, on some of them, or they have advertising. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna look, let's use the gas station, Walmart gas station. They currently don't run digital displays, but they could do other displays, I think. And then you would approach the owner of the station. They usually lease that space out. And if we can get a time slot in there with material, so we have to create the content, put the content on, and then run it through there and lease that space. So we would lease a couple of seconds or a minute. They would have slots that run, for instance, if that's what you're asking. And then but that would be a separate agent. They would lease that out. So we would need to find out who are we renting that from and work it from there.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I'm unfamiliar with a lot of this that you have, and I just thought I'd ask. I knew there was some new marketing there. But anyway, that's all the questions I have.
Okay.
Anyone else? No one else has anything? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark, I guess we're on the next promotional project.
Yeah, from next promotional will be the Catfish Processors LLC doing business as Freshwater Farms Catfish, and that's gonna be Scott.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, gentlemen. All right, so you got Mark, you got the proposal there. So what we're trying to accomplish here is to promote obviously domestic farm raised catfish and Arkansas catfish at that. Catfish being Arkansas is the birthplace of catfish, so we're the third largest producing state. And freshwater has a captured audience with our farmers being the two largest producers. So, you kind of marry that whole thing intertwined together and you've got a good recipe. Arkansas, the state itself, as you guys well know, is the number one consumption state on catfish. So there's an audience out there and we have boots on the street. So what we want to do is just target this audience, get our name out there, get the Arkansas name out there, and grow the business. We've got Alabama processors that are coming in. You've got Louisiana processors that are coming into the market. So we want to capture that with the homegrown look of the homegrown funding, Arkansas grown label, if you will. So we've got it kind of broken down, and again, we have a lot of boots on the street that we can utilize to get this name, to get our product out there and get our name. And like Lynette said, I mean, she said it so eloquently. It's capturing your audience and telling a story, and that's what you want to kind of promote with this. And we've got a chuck wagon race coming up. I believe that's on August 29th, if I'm not mistaken, runs through September 6th, and we'll be frying fish there. So we've got some good stories to tell. We want to get some point of sale material out there to the restaurants. And it's more of I guess you could say, a grassroots movement than anything else. We're trying to get it out there, get table tents out there. We're trying to get color and match for children, get them engaged into eating catfish one way or the other, and more specifically to help the restaurants out there that quite honestly have struggled as of late with the economy. People opting, do I put food, do I go out and eat? Do I put food gas in my tank? And what am I doing here? So the food dollar itself is stretched relatively thin. So having funding available to capture that audience is going to be it's going to be crucial to helping the success of the state, the success of the restaurants in the state. And there is a ton of restaurants, independent restaurants in the state that would certainly benefit from this.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Of course.
Anyone have any questions?
I have two questions. In your proposal, you talk about table tents and such at restaurants. Do you have any idea how many restaurants you're considering?
If I probably had to guess, right off the top of my head, I would probably say, I mean, it would be probably upwards of 1,000 restaurants, to be quite honest with you. You got a lot of independents. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, and then also in your proposal, you talk about promotions or advertising or discounts for the restaurants. What can you expand upon that a little bit?
Just anything that could help them promote, give them the whereabouts to actually buy Arkansas fish. Whether it's a buy down on product, it helps them promote it. Whether it's boots on the street that comes up and helps them work. Any type of advertisement that they could have, like what Brad was alluding to earlier with the gas pumps. I think that's called DOH, digital out of home marketing is what they consider that. It's the acronym for it. But anything that helps these guys survive, because they're in a pinch right now. I can certainly attest to that, and they need help to survive. And we've got a beautiful story to tell with Arkansas grown fish. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful story, and it's a story that if it you get a grassroots movement into it and people see that they're eating local product and supporting a local community, that goes a long way. I mean, it goes a long way. You know, you got things on the other end where you're combating foreign imports, that tariffs and whatever, you know, whatever gets thrown at them doesn't seem to slow it down. So you've got that there, and there's a lot more awareness nowadays on what people are actually putting into their bodies, from an import standpoint than there ever has been, just from, you know, from the shrimp recalls and tariffs and duties and anything of that nature. So it's basically trying to put everything in a whole ball of wax and move this needle to help promote domestic product, and more specifically Arkansas domestic product.
Thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Mark, I guess we'll go to the next proposal.
Okay, the next one I have is Catfish Farmers of Arkansas. And I'm not sure who's going to present on that. I did.
Well, it has my name down. It's just,
It don't matter.
well, you know, the purpose of the project is increase interest to support Arkansas grown catfish by promoting its quality and value to business and consumers. It will support the, you know, marketing costs that are necessary to effectively promote the farm grown catfish. We've talked about other things and reimbursement for expense directly tied to promotion. We've mentioned about restaurants before, or maybe even something like local fire departments and stuff promote the X number of dollars, couple $1,000s here and there to buy catfish for them for fish fries, just low on a local basis, such as that.
Okay.
And I think we were asking what, $16,000, if I remember right.
16,000.
875. 16, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Greg, did you have anything to add to that?
Not much. It's about the same thing we've always done. Besides, we took off front porch ad and the Arkansas Democrat. We decided that focusing on Arkansas grown would be a good idea, and it would actually promote and sell catfish. And that's really about it.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna try to continue while I can do this, but my computer just said it was rebooting in 5 minutes and was going to restart. So, and I had tried to put that off and not do it. I don't know that I can control it right now. So I'm gonna try to connect on my other computer. You may have to let me in, Mark, but I'm gonna try to swap screens. So anyway, are there any questions for this proposal? Okay. Well, hearing none. Mark, I believe we have one project left. Is that right?
Yes, we do. We have the Ag Learning Center at Four States Fairgrounds, and that'll be Kristen. Kristen, are you with us?
I'm
Yeah,
here.
there you are.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, fine.
Alrighty, I'm going to share my presentation with you right quick. Recording. Okay, is all good on that side?
Yep, got to stop one of them. Let me get off this. So.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, my name is Kristen Larry, and I'm the director at the Ag Learning Center. We are a learning center located on the Four States Fairgrounds here in Texarkana, Arkansas. It was a building built back in 2006 to 2008 to promote ag education. And so when I saw you guys were taking proposals, I thought there's no better time than to introduce aquaculture into what we do. Before I started working here, this is my third summer going in. I was a public school teacher for 15 years. So I'm well versed in how to prepare lessons and what the kiddos need to retain information. And so now just adding all these components from all the different commodities in Arkansas and meshing those together, we just have a really unique, fun program. So on the next slide, it just kind of gives us a little bit about us. We're located here at the Four States Fairgrounds. We provide hands-on ag education for students and families and community members all across the Four States region. Everything we do here is engaging. You're not going to walk in and kids aren't going to be working on a worksheet. It's all hands-on. And it's all about agriculture, aquaculture, where our food comes from, how it's provided. When the kids come in, the first thing I always ask them is, where does such and such come from? In this case, where does Catfish come from? They're like, Walmart, Albertsons, a grocery store. And we want to go beyond that. We want to educate these kiddos on where it starts and that farming can be in the water and not just out in the fields and on the cattle ranches. And so adding aquaculture to our program definitely expands our programming and kind of helps evolves as well. So here's some of the reasons why I think that it's important that aquaculture belongs in our program. It's definitely a growing and essential part of not only Arkansas's agriculture, but the nation. I think that it's a big part in our protein discussions when we talk about food. It's a sustainable food production and obviously the rural economic impact. This past year, I worked with a group of third graders and we talked about beef cattle ranches. And those kiddos, even though they are 8 and 9 years old, by the end of it, we were able to talk about profit and loss and weight per pound. And they really had a more understanding of the beef cattle production. And that's what I hope to do with Catfish as well. So basically, I want students to also know you can farm in water because the more people that are in the US now, we need more farming, we need more food, we need to be more sustainable. So this is just kind of some of our statistics. If you've ever visited Texarkana and during our fair week, the Ag Learning Center is a big part of that. However, I am a year-long program. So I taught classes this morning and I've got classes tomorrow. So I do summer camps during the summer, work with our local 4-H groups, FFA chapters, our extension office, parks and recreations, all of those groups, guest reads at libraries and childcare centers. So more than just the 10 days of our fair, our program is nonstop throughout the year. When I first started, there was about 1,000 kiddos per year. Last year, we were able to bring in over 2,500 kiddos to visit us, and which was over doubled from last year. And so far this year, we've got a little over 1,500 from January 1 to date. Some of our programs are pre-K to 12 students, homeschools, and summer camps, and then, of course, the teachers and families that join. So aquaculture would be promoted and Arkansas Catfish would be promoted during our lessons, during our activities, during our Kids Day programming, classroom outreaches, fair weeks, community engagement. We've got a lot of space for advertising also. And just to reiterate, everything we do when these kids come in is hands-on. So whether that's setting up a feeding station or using STEM materials to create a healthy pond and talk about measuring water quality and those types of things, those are the kinds of things that I want to start doing with these guys. So this is this would be just by my ask. I think it's definitely a smart first time investment for us. As you can see here in these pictures, I mean, we always have kiddos. We have kiddos that don't even know what agriculture means until you start explaining. And like I said, I mean, we've heard it here today in these presentations how important aquaculture is here in Arkansas. So here's just some proposed things. The $10,000 I'm requesting obviously goes strictly just to the Catfish lessons and opportunities, classroom resources, and then anything that we can get our hands on for educational purposes, such as literature, flowcharts, displays, and then aquaponics kits. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to speak. And I know it's crazy to believe that these kiddos are one day going to be in our seats, but I doubt that a bunch of them will ever grow up to be the actual producers. But I do think it's important that they become educated consumers at least. So if you guys have any questions, I'd love to help answer those. And thank you again.
Thank you for your presentation.
Of course.
Are there any questions? The only question I have is, how do we get these little kids to crave catfish? We're teaching them about catfish. Now we need them to crave catfish as they become adults.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that we do with our local 4-H is we do cooking contests. And so we've done it with rice, we've done it with dairy. It would be great to do it with catfish as well and host that at the Ag Learning Center and get the kiddos hands on. Because
Okay.
sometimes they don't know, they've had the fried fish, but there's so I've also heard in the varieties, there's also so many different, avenues we want to take with this promotion. So just getting their hands on it.
That's great. I do want to ask too, what's the funding request here? I have two different numbers I'm looking at.
10,000 is what I'm requesting for the aquaculture portion.
Okay. That's just 1 year. It's a one-time.
Yes, 1 year, one time. That's to have a program. If we're not able to do the 10,000, anything can help. I mean, whether it's one class or something that I can maintain for the year.
Anyone else have any questions or anything to comment?
I've got one question.
Thank you very much.
The 131,000, is that the total budget?
Mark, how do we proceed?
Yeah, that is for my program in general. So that's what
Okay,
it
that's what
costs
I
to
thought.
run the Ag Learning Center. The $10,000 I'm requesting from you guys would be the catfish portion.
Okay. All right, Mark.
All right, that was the last
Y'all hear me?
we had.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So we can, the board can discuss.
Well, now I don't
The
have a
proposal?
microphone, I guess. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you not hear us, Brad?
I think I have lost connection, guys.
You're here.
We can hear
You're
you.
here.
Hear you.
Okay. I can't hardly hear y'all. It's cutting out.
Okay. So now the board can discuss the proposals and decide what they want to fund for this funding period. If you want to, break it into research first and promotion next, or just look at them all as a whole.
Will the presenters still be on, or will they be out of the phone call at this point,
That's a public meeting.
so they can attend? Yeah.
It's up to them. They are, if they want to get off, they can, but they stay on. All right, I guess we'll begin discussion with, I guess as it started. You know.
Do you want to look at the research first?
Yeah.
Okay, the two research we had was Pittsburgh State. Requested funds was the $88,122 for 2 years. So for 1 year, it'd be $44,061. And then Mississippi State was the second research proposal, and they had a 2-year funding also. 1 year for their funds would be $29,067.
Have we discussed at any point what we're looking to fund overall in this 1 year period? Given what our current bank account levels are? Do we have a target in mind before we start talking about individual proposals?
Best we're gonna be and just make a decision based on, available funds, I think. What percentage of that? I mean, we just need to discuss how much of that we want to put into these projects.
What is the current dollar figure in the account?
158,000.
158,000.
I'm barely hearing y'all. I'm trying, but I'm on my Wi-Fi on my laptop. I might swap back. My other computer's back. Sorry.
Further from having technology. Well, for too many of them, 158.
That's,
There's limited number of.
if you add up just 1 year, it's 110, you got 158.
Those are a lot.
I guess it'd be more than that. It'd be, if you did all of them, it'd be about 150.
Yeah, if you funded all these for 1 year, it'd be 149,000. But that'd just be for the 1 year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And currently, what is it, 20,000 or 25,000 so comes in a year?
20, 25, 30.
Yeah.
Okay, Brad, you made the switch?
I did make the switch. I heard some of the numbers. What was it? Where are we at on the availability?
We do have 158,000. And, promotion board fund, the total for all of the projects that presented today would be 149,478 for 1 year.
Okay.
Let me see, that may be. Yeah, actually, the total request would be 154,478.
Okay. Well, we'll go through, if y'all want to, we'll go through right quick, each one of them. And I'm about to get my feet under me here, so. The Pittsburgh State proposal, I think the funding on it is, what I'm seeing here is 88,000. That's for 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, for 1 year, it'd be $44,061.
Okay. To me, this project is a little outside of what we're looking for. I'm not sure. I think this is more on a processor side than a farmer side.
Yes.
And
I
to
think,
me,
some. Go ahead.
that's it. To me, it's just a kind of out of the scope of what we're looking at, but any other discussion, please.
I see it as an industry-wide thing, and I wonder if there isn't more funding available on the TCI side or somewhere other than just Arkansas to tackle something like that.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be addressed. I agree with Brad. Looks to me like what they're, the situations they're talking about. No, to me, no matter what you do, it's gonna fall to the meat departments and the grocery stores. And then you have no control, and all the research in the world is not gonna take care of that meat department manager and his employees. I'm not wild about that proposal.
Agree. All right. Rather than just vote on each one, I don't know that we need to vote a yes or no. I guess we can. That'd be the thing, I guess, wouldn't it, Mark?
Yes, you can.
All right,
Yeah, vote on each
Oh.
one.
Yes.
I'll just bring it to a vote. Who's all in favor of this proposal? Say aye. All opposed?
I'm opposed.
Opposed.
Okay. All right, we'll go to the next one. Still thank you for your presentation. We appreciate y'all.
Brad, hang on one second, please.
Okay.
Remote. Yeah, remote, free or remote, okay, they each need to announce themselves and their vote.
Okay. Hey, Brad, the remote board members will need to state their name and their vote.
Okay, would it matter if it was a unanimous vote of all, or you still need to?
Yeah, just, you know, they could just say like, Mark Stowe, aye, since it was, opposed,
Well, I'll start.
just since you're on the line.
Go ahead.
Hey, Brad. Hey, Brad.
Yeah,
Do you think that we should just go through all of them first? Let's listen to make sure we're all clear on the budget on all of them at one time. Go through each one and get the budget on each one. And then we can come back through and vote on them to fund them or not. Because, I mean, you may end up funding something before you have even, you know what I mean? If you, the next one up, you fund it, or you fund this one, and you're out of money before you've gone through each one individually, make sure we're clear on the budget.
that's fine. I see what you're saying. We'll go through and discuss
Yeah.
each one, and then we'll just vote as,
If we can do that,
since,
yeah.
votes have not been recorded, right? Amy, I mean, Mark?
Right. Yeah, on that first vote, no, if you're gonna redo that, other than that, it'll just be, yeah, who was for or against.
Okay, we'll just go on through the next ones, and then we'll discuss what particular, maybe some nominations from the group as to which ones we want to fund and vote, like that. All right, so on the Mississippi State, the Final Caps project. Any, what's the thoughts on this, funding this project?
What's half of the dollar value? What's the 1 year cost of that?
1 year would be $29,067.
Well, I've been following this critter for years and years and years. So, and going back to probably when Brad was just getting started in the late 1990s, we were losing 2 million pounds of fish. Of course, we had it named different back then, but 2 million pounds of fish annually in just Chico-Nasty County. Basically Chico down on Bill Young Road, and then where Bill Young Road, meets Highway 160, which was 278 at the time. Massive losses along that area. So, we identified it and, started a monitoring program since then. But again, we had years on Dick's Place where it's kicked up and lost a couple ponds, and then we've lost ponds on Brad's here and there and yonder. So, you can't predict it, but at least we'd like to get a handle on what's going on, what causes it, what ponds is it likely to hit, and what ones it may miss, whatever. But, you know, we don't know a lot about it. I know we want to see it, basically, and that's where we are on this thing.
That's the 2 year process. And what's the cost?
And Corey has shared and put the cost up on the board for 1 year, 2 year, or one of 2 year funding.
I'm showing it Sharon, is it not?
Yes, it's Sharon. I do see it.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't comment.
It's on the
Yeah.
screen.
Well, for me, the Mississippi State proposal is, a critical proposal for us. I think in the area that I'm in, this Final Caps, this particular algae is, can be detrimental on the farm. And we gotta figure out where it's coming from. We gotta make sure, we didn't used to have the trouble we have with it now, and so it's growing. The organism's growing and expanding, and every year it gets worse, it seems like. Well, to me, it seems like a pretty good proposal.
I agree with you, Brad. It's pretty important. Made to.
Okay, is there any other discussion on the Mississippi State? We'll move on to the next one. The Star Knights Initiative, the research side was removed, withdrawn. We'll go straight into the promotional side, Starry Nights. Now we're going to vote for approving. I see that I hope that's a temporary tentative approval there. But anyway, the Starry Night is any discussion, any thoughts on funding this project?
Is there a redundancy here with anything that TCI is currently doing? Do they have a social media campaign that would do this similar thing?
They do have a social media campaign, and they work through a lot of influencers for U.S. farm raised catfish. I think there is going to be a lot of overlap. That's why I was curious if we were to do something like this, would it be, to me, to get the full benefits, you would want them working together, and it would increase your viewers, clicks, or whatever it is, by extending to another platform. So that's kind of why I was asking the question about bringing the two together. But now, whether or not, I can't answer the questions if you're looking at the same people. I mean, you all know how soon. I don't know how Instagram is and how Facebook is, and when I go through, I mean, it just continues.
As far as I'm concerned, this is something we don't have to have.
And if there is a project that y'all are looking at and not sure about, you can also ask for a lower funding level.
Right.
And see if they can, instead of, if they wanted 30,000, you could see if they could do something for 15,000. If you wanted to reduce levels and just go with part of a project. So that's up to the board also.
Well, I guess the board could make the suggestion to reduce the funding, and then we could present it back at that time to the applicant, and they could decide if it was, if that's good for them. Okay, is there any more discussion on Star Night? We'll move on to catfish processors. Arkansas grown catfish.
I like the project. It's our only shot at anything, of any kind of an Arkansas promotion that promotes Arkansas fish. I think that needs to be done myself. I don't know any other way I expand upon it, other than say I'm for it.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, I mean, the promotional material is going to be Arkansas grown, Arkansas catfish. It's not necessarily going to be freshwater farms catfish.
No, it won't be. It'll have. There could be some freshwater. Now, so there'll be some freshwater catfish. Will be part of that, but it'll also have everything. Will have Arkansas grown. It is so. Freshwater is only available Arkansas grown catfish. So, the two kind of go together, but it will not be used to promote strictly freshwater catfish without, that's not Arkansas grown.
Yeah, my only concern with that proposal, I mean, I like the promotion end of it, working with the independent restaurants. I like that. My only concern is when it comes to promotions or product buybacks or, some funding going to provide catfish bought from one essentially Arkansas company to a company that's gonna cook it and sell it. I don't have a good feeling about that discounted mechanism, but I do like the promotion end of this proposal.
Well, it's not, I see what you're saying, but there's only one choice out there to get Arkansas processed fish, so it could look a little, I don't know, there's just not any other choices out there to get Arkansas processed fish than from freshwater farms. My concern a little bit is there gonna be some confusing, an Arkansas label on the box and the plant name in Mississippi what is the plans to explain all of that to the restaurant purchaser? I know it's easily explained. But there will be some questions that might be hard to answer. I don't know, or it just needs to be explained, and I guess, I guess there's a plan for that.
Yeah, already, Steve, in your question, the first question you asked was how do you show it's Arkansas processed? And it's not Arkansas processed. So we've went through the Department of Ag and we have the labels for the Arkansas grown. And so there are other commodities that are slaughtered in other states that what they are claiming they're grown in. And so that would be, the main thing is that it's grown in Arkansas.
Yes, I realized I said Arkansas processed.
Well, that was your question, so that's what you were thinking.
Well, okay.
I mean, I'm just pointing it out, but it is an Arkansas grown label.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, if other commodities, have experienced the same thing, I mean, that's great. I mean,
even in catfish, there's Texas.
I'm on board.
Yeah, even in catfish, you have a Texas, what's that push for Texas? It's not Texas grown, but it is a Texas grown, but that's not the label they use. But it's not processed in Texas, processed in Louisiana.
Okay.
I hope that answered that's my knowledge of it. Any other questions on Arkansas grown and catfish processors request? Okay, we'll move on to Catfish Farms of Arkansas. I don't think there's a lot of discussion here. This is pretty much the same budget we've looked at. It's been reduced because there's some activity that'll be, some of that budgeting will be actually handed over in the Arkansas grown side. So you'll see some of those projects get pushed in that initiative where we can push an Arkansas grown label for some of the like the chuck wagon races or something. We can help promote that simultaneously, anyway. But that budget's reduced from where it's been, and I think that we all understand that one. Anybody else got anything on that?
I'll make one comment about the Lake Fest catfish cooking contest. The guy that's running that is really passionate about what he does. He's kind of a one-man show. I was not able to attend due to health issues in the family. But we've got to get more involved in that. That guy's a one-man show, and he's trying to promote our product. And this year, he only had 7 contestants. There might have been like 8 or 9. You know, he needs some help. He needs some help from Catfish Promotion Board, Catfish Farmers of Arkansas, and the Ag Department to advertise that, get more contestants, and get it and get it to be bigger than it is. I think next year, we're not spending much money on it, and really we just need some boots on the ground to show up there and show some support. And I guess, you know, it needs to be advertised, for more contestants.
This would be a good place. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Brad, but Steve, I was thinking, I mean, that might be, if Arkansas Grown is funded, that might be a really good opportunity right there. I know it's not a restaurant, but it'd be a good promotional activity right there for Arkansas Grown. Help advertise for that guy and that activity, and help him out with some fish. That falls right in line with that in my mind.
You're right.
It's, you know, the fish isn't that big a deal. It's just been taking 2 cases a year, but even if it doubled, you know, you're looking at 4 cases. We just need to get, we just need to help them out with advertising of it. And basically that wouldn't cost them.
Well, those are some of the type incentive programs, you know, that come to mind, like Dick is talking about, that can be helped with the Arkansas Grown Initiative. I think the governor, I think Saul West was on here, but I think the governor has an initiative now to push more Arkansas grown catfish in the state parks and some of the restaurants and around the areas. So maybe we could get with, you know, somebody there, maybe we'll get with, you know, Wes or somebody here and see what that plan is, and see if we can maybe get this guy incorporated into some of that, or other projects like this. I don't know that you'd want to single-handedly pick somebody, but I'm just thinking out loud, maybe you could turn it into some kind of promotional deal, especially around some of the state parks. Also, while we're talking, I was looking here, and I understand, I'm gonna back up to the catfish processor, because we do have, there's $15,000 for an incentive program, which this is kind of mirrored off some of the TCI incentive programs that are already being utilized throughout the industry with every processor. So that we could reduce that number, and looking at where we're at on our budget, why don't we cut 5,000 off of the catfish processors and cut it back to a $25,000 a year project, and reduce the incentive program down to 10, and that way everybody feel a little better about, you know, the request. Threw a monkey wrench at y'all, didn't I?
Just say that again, Brad, one more time.
Well, I quit. So going back to the catfish, we're talking about the Arkansas Grown and pushing that. Going back to the Arkansas Grown initiative, our request is for $30,000 for 2 years, a $60,000 total budget. Well, we could cut the incentive program down. It's a 15th. I'm looking at the cost there, and that is the largest part of the budget, is $15,000 for incentive program money for restaurants, which would be your specials, your buybacks, your, you know, promotional ad, you know, seasonal ads for Lent and different things like that. But that number is the biggest number. And looking at the budget for where we're at on total money, I'm just making the suggestion we cut it back to 10, and then we've kind of balanced it a little more, and there's not so much of it going towards 50% of the things going toward buyback. But we'll just reduce that, and everybody can feel comfortable about 10, and we'll get our budget back down a little more tolerable. Anyway, We talked about funding partial, so I thought I'd throw that in there. We'll go back to it
Okay.
and discuss. Is there any more questions? Catfish Farms of Arkansas. I guess we'll go on to the Ag Learning Center from Four States at Four States Fairground. I really like the idea of the young kids through all ages learning about catfish and different commodities. I think it's a reasonable request. Would like to hear everyone else's thoughts on it.
I like it. Yes,
Yes.
it's not real expensive and so, it's,
Yeah,
something affordable we could do.
it works out to $4 a kid that goes through there in a year.
So it's not bad.
Well, I think it's, I know when you hear a lot about catfish and a lot about how a lot of people think they're not good fish to eat. We all know better. It'd be good to have these kids learn that at a young age and understand where they're coming from and how sustainable they are. So that's why I'm for it.
And they were asking for $10,000, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, yes, it's not a big.
Okay.
Okay, so to move through this pretty quick, we've looked at the ones and we've kind of got our heads around. I think there's a few proposals here that everyone is. I guess we can go through and vote individually. We'll just go through and vote on them. That'll be the easiest thing. As you vote, we'll go through. We'll just have to go through, figure out how to. It'd really be best to have a roll call, Mark. Otherwise, we're going to be talking over the top of each other. Could we set up a name list and let one of y'all call out the name and let that individual vote, and then y'all can keep track of it that way. And we'll just vote straight across those names and go through each project if you want to do that. Name them 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way down, and that'd be the easiest way for y'all to track that, I think.
Okay, yes, I can call out the organization and then do a roll call on yay or nay.
That's right.
If y'all are ready for that, I'll get started. The first one, we'll start with research, would be Pittsburgh State University for $44,061. Brad Graham.
No.
Dick Baxter.
No.
Greg Moores.
No.
Larry Dorman.
No.
Steve Keeter.
No.
Where am I at here? Oh, Bobby Clinton.
No.
Okay. The second proposal is Mississippi State University for $29,067. Brad Graham.
Yay.
Dick Baxter.
Yes.
Greg Moores.
Yes.
Larry Dorman.
Yes.
Steve Keeter.
Yes.
Bobby Clinton.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so for research, the board will fund $29,067 for 1 year for Mid-State. Moving into promotions.
Hold on a minute, Mark.
Okay, I'll hold on.
Yeah, I have a question that kind of came up here. So the proposal is for 2-year project. We're voting to fund it for 1 year, but that is also including funding would be for the following year, right? This is a total project cost, so there's 2 years in this. Is this approved?
So what the promotion board will do will approve for 1 year, and Mississippi State will come back at the funding meeting for next year and give a progress report, and they'll have a submission for a continuation for year 2 funding.
Okay.
So you'll vote on it next year too.
Okay, thank you. I'll clear that up.
Okay, now for promotions, the first one is Starry Night Initiative for $25,000. Brad Graham.
Nay.
Dick Baxter,
No.
Greg Moyer,
No.
Larry Dorman,
No.
Steve Keeter,
No.
Bobby Lindon.
No.
Okay, next one is Catfish Processors LLC for, and let me make sure, for 25,000, Brad?
Hold on a minute. Is Lynette still on here? I would like to get Lynette's contact information before she gets off.
Yes, I'm
Or
still.
email me something. I'd like to have some further discussion with you.
I think that's a good idea. There was one thing I never submitted today was my Catfish Grand Calendar with regards to marketing and promotions that I didn't add. That's gonna be partially funding this initiatives as well, and there's 9 of them. I didn't include it in here, but I think that's something you should look out
Okay.
before any vote, or you decide finally. I'm agreeing with you that if there's overlap with some, with especially when it comes to digital marketing, you can cut that, but there are numerous, that is not the only platform. There are numerous other forms of marketing that can be incorporated into this. And this is not solely a digital TikTok account. There's a lot of aspects you should look at. I think it's necessary.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Mark. I didn't want her to get off because she lost her funding.
And, no, for the, catfish processors, freshwater farm catfish, that was for 25,000 is what that was changed to.
Yeah, I think so. That's just a recommendation as a board member and see what the others think.
Okay, Brad Graham,
Yes.
Dick Baxter,
Yes.
Greg Moyer,
Yes.
Larry Dorman,
Yes.
Steve Keeter,
Yes.
Bobby Lindon.
Yes.
Okay, now for Catfish Farmers of Arkansas for $16,350, Brad Graham,
Yes.
Dick Baxter,
Yes.
Greg Moyer,
Yes.
Larry Dorman,
Yes.
Steve Keeter,
Yes.
Bobby Lindon.
Yes.
Okay, the last one is Ag Learning Center for $10,000. Brad Graham,
Yes.
Dick Baxter,
Yes.
Greg Moyer,
Yes.
Larry Dorman,
Yes.
Steve Keeter,
Yes.
Bobby Lindon.
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like
If let me jump in here. This Corey Seats. For catfish processors, I know there was a request initially for 30. There was talk about 25. What is the funding level?
Well, I suggested we move it to 25 and I'm fine with it being at 25. That's makes sense. So I'm good with that.
I agree with 25.
okay, so funding approved with the 1 research and funding 3 promotional would be $80,417.
Okay.
Excuse me,
Mark,
sir,
go ahead.
Dr. Garcia from Pittsburgh. May I have a question?
Yes.
Sorry, because this fund is mainly for covering graduate students. My goal was actually getting the fund for covering their tuition fee, but I can cut some of the costs that I allocated here. For instance, I can go up to, I think I checked my budget, I can go up to $30,000. If that still would be possible, I mean, to get the fund for 1 student to hire here to work on this project, that would be great. Because my goal is not only for the, also this is something relates with for the restaurants too. Restaurants, they need to have something that can use for their food spoilage. If they can track that, that can help for not only for the whole chain from the beginning to the end, even for the users that can be in the restaurant users. But I'm flexible to get, drop the fund to lower just to cover their tuitions, and I can get budgets from other areas to cover the other costs of the supplies, for instance.
Well, I appreciate your request in that, and we always, we try to support our students, and we do some local scholarships, funding for, some part of our, projects as it is. I feel like on my side of the discussion we had, and I'm sure you could hear it, was that, it's really kind of not the research we're looking for. It is catfish, but it's more on the process side. I'll have to do some research and see if I can find out what kind of funding is available in other areas. Maybe there's some TCI marketing, maybe there's some research projects we should be maybe doing some proposals there. I'll have to do a little research on that, but I can, if you'll get an email to, I can get your email from Mark, I'm sure, and maybe I can get with you on other ideas. I just think for this is more of a production side that we're interested in, and the marketing is there because we want to see our product marketed. But as far as the, I feel like on the processed end, it's kind of out of our range.
No problem. I just shared my email here, so feel free to reach out to me. I would be glad to communicate and see how we can, be part of this initiative. I'm always open, for any conversation. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
Okay.
And Brad, I'll send you after the meeting an email for Lynette and Mazir's contact information.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah. Oh, I know. I was going to ask the question. Okay. Mark, during the course of this, I've realized some things here. So there's some TCI reimbursement side to all, to our funding projects. I probably should have shot Jeremy a text in the middle of this to see, because it goes through the state organizations. Is there a way that we can see how, if we could utilize this through the Catfish Farmers of Arkansas, penny for penny, and track it and run through that organization, then we could be eligible for reimbursement for 50% of this. Is that something? I know that has to be discussed within this group, so I have to bring that up right now so that we can start working on that. Is that something we can do?
I'm sure that's something we could look into to see.
Okay. I just think it'd be a great way to continue funding in the future, to be able to, have the reimbursement from the industry money rather than all come from state organizations.
Okay, that'd just be a 50% reimbursement from TCI.
Yes. And I don't know why we get it back. However, whatever we have to do with it, if we have to turn it right back in, however we want to, track that. I just think it's a way to utilize funding that's out there for these projects. That's what they want us to do. That's what they're asking us to do. And the way we're funded, we're structured through Arkansas Catfish Promotion Board. All of our funds go there. And to get our funds to the Catfish Farmers of Arkansas, where our reimbursements come from, we got to figure out how to make those two work together to make all the funding available for future projects.
Okay.
I can talk to Jeremy, and it may be something that we could do through directly, and I think it's going to have to go through the state organization.
Okay.
All right.
So are we tabling funding these projects until you have an answer from TCI, or what are we doing
No.
here?
No, I think we just voted on all of them individually, or each one's been approved, right?
Yeah, each one was approved. Total funds to fund the 4 projects was $80,417. And then I guess the reimbursement, if that's reimbursed, it can go back into Catfish Promotion Board to use for funding for next year.
But as I understand the mechanism, maybe I have it wrong. The projects that were just approved, that money would have to go to Catfish Farmers of Arkansas. And then Catfish Farmers of Arkansas would have to pay it out to those projects. Submit those receipts to TCI. TCI would reimburse Catfish Farmers of Arkansas. So it wouldn't be the promotion board writing a check to each of those activities we just approved. I think it would have to all go to Catfish Farmers, and Catfish Farmers have to pay those groups and get reimbursed from TCI. Is that how it works?
Yes,
I'm
I
asking.
think I've got to clarify that with Jeremy at TCI, but I'm pretty sure you would have to distribute the funds to Catfish Farmers of Arkansas, and then Catfish Farmers of Arkansas would actually cut the checks for each project to each recipient. And then Catfish Farmers of Arkansas would be reimbursed. Now, what we do with the reimbursement, if it needs to come back to promotion board, or if we use it for other, adjust the budget, however we do it, it doesn't matter to me. It's all going in the same pot. It doesn't matter how we do it. Whatever's easiest for it to be tracked through Mark's side on the Department of Ag.
I follow the logic. I think we might be late in the conversation. I don't know if what we just voted on can be reversed and done like this, or do we need to just say we're gonna do it this way this year, then next year we'll look at maybe trying to do some cost sharing with TCI in some other mechanism, maybe? I'm just not sure this can happen this year with the way we've talked about this so far.
Well, that's why I asked. That's what I was asking. I just want to see if maybe Mark, if there's something we can discuss. Just an idea.
Yeah, we may just have to do it in this year and then see about cost sharing next year.
I think your structure is gonna have to be different, to where, because to really, I don't know, do this cost share TCI thing right, it's like, well, half the money has to come from the promotion board, half the money has to come from Catfish Farmers, and half of it gets passed to Catfish Farmers and it gets paid back. It's very complicated. I don't think we can figure it out in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, is there any other discussion, any other business?
Let's see. I think the only thing we have is, other business would be setting the, next business date. Tentatively, I had the July 16th for the first meeting of the fiscal year. That was a date I think y'all provided back in January. So I guess just see when the board would like to meet again.
Hold on, when is? Okay, CFA convention's February 11th and 13th, so that wouldn't conflict. typically do it in January, I would say sometime. We would do it in conjunction with the CFA, Catfish Farmers of Arkansas meeting. We hadn't really discussed how we lay that meeting out this year since we're doing things different.
Well, no, do you want to do the July meeting?
Brad, he's saying do it in July for the new fiscal year.
I'm looking at the wrong, I got you, I'm sorry. We gotta, okay. What are the proposed dates?
The date that y'all set was July 16th. I think it's on a Thursday.
No. July 7th or July 16th, is that what you said?
Yes, July 16th.
Oh, not, okay. Go ahead.
Excuse me, Brad.
Yes.
Do you want to meet after this, or do you want me to hop off? Is it fine that I leave, or is there anything else that you guys want to discuss or have questions?
No, you can hop off. That's fine. We're done. Thank you. All the applicants, anyone that wants to get off, they can. I have a DC trip sometime in July, and I missed this one. I was supposed to go today, and I told him I'd go. I couldn't go to this one, but I go to the one in July. So I don't know the date of that yet. I've got to find that out. I'm gonna see if he'll answer me, and it may be that we can work around that. Anyone else have any other conflicts or any other dates that doesn't work? I don't know what to do.
Brad, I can't do July 16th, and I can't do July 22nd. But I can do any other date.
Well, do we have to plan that meeting today, or can we through email plan this next meeting?
Yeah, I work it out with you on the phone and see if we put it in August or.
Yeah, I need to get my days worked out, and this will be a Zoom call or an in person.
That's up to discretion of the board.
I guess we
usually I think the first fiscal meeting will be in person.
All right. Well, let's just discuss. Let me get some more dates.
Okay.
Anyone
And then
anything
for the 4 projects y'all are voted on to fund, I'll get a memorandum of agreement ready. And share those with the board to let them look at them and then send those out to the recipients. And it'll just call for like a status update on the promotion items or the research, progress report, and things like that on the funding. And that'll be for starting in July, going through June 30th of 2027.
All right, sounds good. Is there anything else? Anybody has? Mark, we'll get together and find out when this date is, and we'll get back there and email with everyone and set the next date for meeting. And I appreciate everyone for attending.
All right. Motion to adjourn then?
I think so. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make,
A motion to adjourn.
Okay, Bobby has a motion to adjourn.
I think Dick just seconded it, or they were doing it at the same time.
Dick, did you second?
I did not, but I can. Second,
Okay.
Dick Baxter.
Motion adjourn, meeting adjourn.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thanks. Have a good day.
okay.